The Rob Carson Show is presented by Paramount Plus.
You don't need to live with aches and pains. Visit relieffactor.com today.
And funny show in America, on air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show, and I want to say thank God it's Monday. I'm just going to say thank God it's Monday because I couldn't wait to get back to work, to be quite honest. The weekend, not the best weekend. It was a pretty good weekend, not the best weekend. I did go see The Odyssey with my daughter. It wasn't the woke mess that I thought it was going to be. It wasn't a bad movie. It was a pretty good movie. I saw it Friday night with her. The only thing that I really had a problem with was sitting through 40 friggin' minutes of commercials. So you got like 10 commercials for every product under the sun, from Coca-Cola to whatever the hell. And then you got another, the movie trailers, which you normally expect. But honestly, 20 minutes of commercials. Just commercials to start the movie, and it's in IMAX. So we get there. The movie time is 6 o'clock, right? So 6 o'clock, we're there. Movie doesn't start till 6:40. And then it wraps up at like 9:15, about 3 hours long. It's just shy, 2:45, whatever the hell. Anyway, very good movie though. The Elliot Page, that little woman who used to be a guy and considers herself a guy. The part was just minimal in the movie, not a big part at all. Nothing. Honestly, I think the next thing that this individual should play is Tiny Tim in a remake of A Christmas Carol. But anyway, not a big part of the movie. There were some very good things that I enjoyed about the movie. I will tell you, the movie is very long, and I needed to pee an hour into it, right? So I still had an hour and a half to go, but I didn't want to get up and miss any of the movie. So that's, the movie was good enough to keep me very uncomfortably holding back, going to the bathroom for an hour and a half. So we did that, and then ultimately, a lot of the comparison I would make to this movie would be like Ridley Scott's Gladiator to some degree, but I didn't feel the emotional connection that I did with Gladiator. Gladiator was an ethereal movie. It was astounding movie. It was an outstanding movie. The end of the movie just left you just slack-jawed and all of that. This movie was very good. There were some very good performances. Matt Damon is proving himself to be one of the best actors of my generation, or at least one of the best actors of my generation. And so overall, it was a pretty good movie. There are a bunch of movies in the trailers that I sat through that I'm really looking forward to. I'm really looking forward to the Rocky biopic of Sylvester Stallone, selling the movie Rocky and making himself into a superstar because he wrote the script and he insisted on playing Rocky. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. There are some other movies that I'm really looking forward to seeing in the fall. I will tell you, it's nice to go back to the movies. I like going to the movies. It's very nice. At home, I've got one of these little projection TVs. It's called an Oculus. It's the size of a thermos, right? And you set it over here, and it projects on the wall a 10-foot screen in high definition. I got a 10-foot screen in high definition on my wall, right? And that's really cool. A little overkill for an apartment that's probably 500 square feet, but here's the deal. That's just how I roll. If you can have it and it can be that big, why the hell not? Why would you want something smaller if you can have a 10-foot screen, even if you're only 6 foot from it? But as much as it's nice to sit at home and watch a movie, it's not the same as going to a movie theater. And it was great to be in a theater that was full. It was absolutely full. The Democrat Party, Anthony Fauci, wrecked everything when they closed down everything. When they killed the movie industry, they very nearly killed the entire movie industry. For 2 years, you could not go see a freaking movie. How stupid. What an enormous waste to not be able to go see a movie. It did, however, I guess now we have a lot more streaming options and all of this. But, maybe we just shouldn't mess with going out to the movies. I know they got rid of the drive-in. There was a few drive-in theaters around the country, and it's just kind of an experience, drive-in movie theaters, kind of fun. I haven't been to one for about 20 years. But going to a movie, I just enjoy doing. We did not get concessions. I did not spend money on popcorn and all that crap, which is where they make their money. But anyway, overall, I would say the movie, I'd give about an 8 out of 10. I thought it was good. I wouldn't probably see it again, just because it's so long. It's like, there's a few movies that are just, I don't care to see them again. It's, Schindler's List. I'm cool. I saw it once. I really don't want to see Schindler's List again. And, there's some other movies that either were too stressful or just too long that I saw once. I'm glad I saw it. Don't think I'm going to see it again. If Odyssey comes out on streaming, which it inevitably will, I probably will not stream the movie unless I have, maybe a date. Not holding my breath, but maybe a date wants to watch the movie, then I will watch it with her. But again, that means the chances of me watching the movie again are very, very slim. So anyway. Oh my goodness! What a weekend! What a weekend! My Lord, we had. I'm going to get to RFK Jr. Just destroying Dana Bash. Dana Bash. She, journalism in America today is about remaining intentionally clueless and claiming that your lack of journalistic curiosity is somehow journalism, or accepting the talking points of a Democrat administration. That's what Dana Bash did for years with COVID, and she's come to believe the disinformation the government spewed, and then she made the mistake of trying to take on RFK Jr., who's a very learned man. He's not a doctor. All right, he's not a scientist, but I'm going to tell you, he's a whole lot more knowledgeable than the doctors and scientists like Dr. Fauci when it comes to things like the origin of COVID and the efficacy of the COVID vaccine. So I'm going to share some of that very shortly on the show. You've got Abdul Al-Sayed. It looks like he's really pulling out ahead of that the girl who was like Matt Foley from SNL. He's really way out ahead of her, like 20 points. Tomorrow is the primary, and Abdul Al-Sayed is most probably going to win it, and then he's going to get destroyed in the general because the Republican candidate is already 3 points ahead. And there's no way after Abdul Al-Sayed becomes the candidate to do what they did to Graham Plattner. He will be the candidate. And as much as there are parts of Michigan that are radical Islamist and have been taken over, by and large, the state of Michigan hasn't gone that way. And I don't think it's going to be very good for Abdul Al-Sayed. I'm glad it's going to be, it appears to be Abdul Al-Sayed. I'm glad it's going to be him because he'll be easier to defeat. A lot of people are beginning to realize the crazy of the Democrat Socialists of America. Now, we, of course, always need to be concerned about the Democrat Socialists of America, but you may recall a couple of years ago, in 2024, the Democrat Party chose a candidate named Kamala Harris who was a complete moron and was very far left, very much open borders, down with all of the nonsense of the Democrat Party, maybe not as left as the DSA, but certainly very far left. And she got her rear end kicked up between her shoulders by Donald Trump. She lost the battleground states, the popular vote, the Electoral College, both houses of Congress. So, the Democrat Party is allowing a bunch of vampires known as the Democrat Socialists of America to come in to their big tent. And now there are 1/3 of Democrats saying they're down with the DSA. And the DSA, by the way, is communism. It is communism. That's all there is to it. Finally, there are some people who are beginning to say, hey, maybe there's a problem with this. Not in the establishment Democrat Party, not the leadership of the Democrat Party. They're still pretty much down with it. I think, well, Bill Maher talked about there were, 8 Democrats who decided they were going to come out and sign a pledge against the insanity of the
Two
DSA.
Democratic
I want you to listen to Bill Maher.
congressmen
Hold on. Let me turn it on. Here it is.
2 Democratic congressmen released an open pledge they wanted their fellow Democratic members to sign.
Yeah.
It said, "We are capitalist, not socialist. We want safety, not lawlessness.
Yes.
We are proud, not ashamed of America."
Yeah. So those are the they don't want the police defunded, and they love being American. They're patriotic.
These should not be hard words.
No.
For a congressional Democrat to sign on to. You know how many did? 8.
Yeah.
8 out of 212.
Yeah.
Guys, really, there's got to be an easier way to lose the swing states.
Yeah. To lose everything. So the Democrat Party is going, as I've been saying, they've been doing a death spiral into hell for a number of years now. They're intellectually and morally bankrupt, and now they have invited the most radical element to possibly exist in American political history to come in and essentially, at least, it appears now, lead in the direction of taking over the party, and they're getting very little resistance from actual members of the party. This is James Carville. That's James Carville. Here's James Carville talking about the DSA and their insanity, and saying that if, in fact, the Democrat Party decides to continue to bed down with the DSA, Hassan Piker is one of the big supporters of the DSA, and some of the DSA candidates, including Abdul El-Sayed, have been campaigning with that nutbag, that Maoist, that monstrous communist. Carville says he's going to be done. And here he is. Hold on. Carville says he's going to be done. See, I told you I had a rough weekend.
Analyst there is, and I'm not sure what to understand what Mamdani is doing, but to talk about the larger Democratic Party post the election in Michigan going forward, I am not going to be in the same party with Hassan Piker. I can tell you that right now. If he becomes a force in the Democratic Party, I'm out of here.
Democrats are going to have to start, all of you, talking like this. If you don't want this nonsense to continue, if you're concerned about the direction of your party and getting your rear ends kicked worse than 2024, you might want to start saying you can't be a part of the party.
No intention of ever being in the same political party with that guy. Now, I think that overwhelming majority of Democrats agree with me.
Yeah.
But this idea that we're going to seize the means of production and this, just go look at the DSA platform. You don't have to look any further than that.
It's nuts.
And, Jackie, it may be that the two-party system is just going to be under tremendous stress here in the coming months. I mean, you see it in with Tucker and Martin Taylor Greene, and on the Republican side, you see it going on right now. And I can't sit here and tell you for certain how this is going to turn out. But the one thing I can tell you for certain, Hassan Piker and James Carville are not going to be in the same political party. One of us is going to lead.
You better save the party. I suggested, and I said that they have to reform themselves, or they have to disappear into the dustbin of history. Right now, they're kind of leaning into the dustbin, as I have been saying for a number of years. But I could have never predicted this. And related to the movie that I saw on Friday, Odyssey, you could use the Trojan horse analogy for the DSA. I just put that together. My God, like two bookends on an opening monologue. Open with the Odyssey, closes with the Odyssey. Got much more coming up. The number is 800-922-6680. This is The Rob Carson Show.
WCBM.
There we go.
The Rob Carson Show podcast is everywhere. Go to Newsmax.com/listen for details.
You know, campaigning with the DSA, I know he's not a DSA candidate, but the DSA label, Hassan Piker, his friends there in the DSA are so bat crazy, right, that the Democrats, your party, which should have a very good year, is going to blow it. They're going to blow it because you guys have such nutty candidates. When you have Bill Maher saying that he's open to voting for J.D. Vance. I mean, he would even consider voting for Sarah Palin. When you have James Carville saying, we've got a big tent, but there's some shit that I just can't have in our big tent. Right? When you have this internal schism in your party that's so divisive, and it is clearly on the side of the communists right now. The side of the listen, hold on, wait, listen.
Yes, it is. Knock it off, CNN panel.
The people in your party that have the energy, that are pushing,
David,
they want to dismember.
Don't call names if you don't want names called back.
Don't call names. If you're a freaking communist, you're a communist. This is David Urban, by the way, telling the truth on CNN and a CNN panel, of course, like a bunch of piranhas on a calf's leg, diving on his truth and trying to cover it up by filibustering. No, your freaking party has gone nuts. The Democrat Party is broken, intellectually and morally bankrupt, and now just off the rails, leaning into anti-Semitism and socialism, just like, I don't know, there was a party in Germany in the 1930s, did the same thing. You got, in the state of Wisconsin, running for governor, a diagnosed bipolar Asian chick with a history of self-harm who's been institutionalized in a psychiatric ward and overdosed on lithium, and she wanted to get rid of Thanksgiving because, colonialism and all that crap. All right, they're colonism, whatever the hell. A guy who plays with the Dr. Fauci doll proclaims his love for trans kids and met his girlfriend at a gay bar. That's Tallarico in Texas. A guy who dresses up as a mechanic for fun married his cousin and knocked her up twice. That's Troy Jackson, the candidate for Senate in Michigan. Yeah, he married his cousin. His children are his second cousins. In San Francisco, Scott Wiener, appropriately named, a guy who frequents events where participants urinate on each other in a kiddie pool while wearing crotchless chaps, who's claimed to fame lowering the age of consent for men to have sex with boys as young as 12, decriminalized knowingly infecting others with AIDS, and supports allowing convicted pedophiles to run for school board. Okay, that's San Francisco. That's real, okay? And then a Muslim guy who believes the U.S. deserved 9/11, is funded by the Muslim Brotherhood, and whose wife and mother-in-law have terrorist connections. That's Abdul al-Sayed. That's your Democrat Party. That's your Democrat Party. If you're down with all of the things that I just said, you're mentally ill. There's something very, very wrong with you. Or you are a communist, one or the other. You have no morals and you're a communist. But I would venture to say that 99% of those hearing the sound of my voice would not vote for any of these people. But that's where the Democrat Party has gone. And the Democrat Party is self-immolating. That's what they're doing right now. They poured the gasoline on, and now they're just letting it go. Just letting it go. Here is Adam Carolla talking about, and I love me some Adam Carolla, by the way, talking about the new Democrat Party.
Whenever these people, Zohran or anyone in the squad, anyone in that sort of Islamic, youthy kind of new wave politician, it only goes one direction. Yeah. It's more and more, oh, we found a tweet from 6 years ago where you're praising Hitler and saying, I wish there were more Jews taken out. Like, that's no, there's never a correction. It's by the way, it's them being insulted. What are you talking about? It's just like Fauci was when he'd get hauled in front of Jim Jordan. Oh, how dare you? This is insulting. You've insulted my honor and my integrity. It's always, this is an insult, calling you anti-Semitic or anti-American. But every single piece of information we find out about you says that.
Yeah, 100%. Every single thing about some of these candidates is, you're a communist, but call them a communist and the CNN panel will jump on you.
They hate this country and they hate Jews.
Yeah.
But they can't say out loud I hate Jews and I hate America.
No, they're just not. They're not anti-Semitic. They're just anti-Zionist. They're anti-Semitic.
It's just every action they engage in suggests that.
Yeah.
And every tweet they like.
If a duck quacks like a duck, it's a duck.
Everybody they associate with and everyone they hire and every church they go to, that's all this.
Yeah, you know what he just explained there? He just explained my premise when I, ask questions that are fairly obvious. Do you know why I know that the virus, the COVID virus, came from a lab in Wuhan, China? Because I'm not stupid. That way you don't have to run through all of the evidence, all of the, trying to prove something to someone, even though it's been proven time and time again and it's very obvious. It's because I'm not stupid. You know why I think that boys can't become girls? Because I'm not stupid. You know why I know girls can't become boys? Because I'm not stupid. You know why I know Russia didn't collude with Donald Trump? Because I'm not stupid. You get it? You get it? See, I'm not going to suffer fools anymore. I'm not going to defend my position anymore when it's obvious the evidence shows I'm right. I'm just done with this mental masturbation of talking with somebody about stupid things. Whether it be, oh, yeah, a boy can become a girl and compete in girl sports. Well, why aren't there any girls becoming boys and competing in boy sports? Why are there no trans players in the NBA? Oh, yeah, it's because women can't become men and men can't become women, and the only men who become women to compete in women's sports are failures in their own sports. Do you see? Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Here is Joe Manchin, of all people, talking about the crazy
Heather,
DSA.
could you ever support a self-described socialist candidate?
No. No way. My God, no.
And even if they have some good ideas?
I support the good ideas, but how could you support some of the crazy stuff they're for?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, common sense, guys. 2024 was about returning to common sense from nonsense. This election is about voting for sane versus insane. James Rosen, Washington, D.C. Chief Newsmax, joins us next.
The Rob Carson Show is presented by Paramount Plus.
This isn't the end of a fight. It's the start of one. Lioness, the critically acclaimed original series from Taylor Sheridan, returns August 2nd only on Paramount Plus. It's the new season. Hidden networks, foreign operatives, and personal betrayals collide while Joe walks the line between duty and family. Don't miss Lioness, starring Zoe Saldana, Michael Kelly, with Morgan Freeman and Nicole Kidman. Now streaming on Paramount Plus. Doug took Relief Factor for nearly a year before convincing his wife, a special needs teacher, to try it. She had been using assistance just to move through the long hallway at school. Now she's back on her feet every day. Never had to leave the job she loves. I can attest to this. I ride my mountain bike every weekend from 30 to 50 miles. I lift weights, and I'm lifting heavier than I did when I was 30 without pain. People like Doug make it easy to find out if you'll be the next person telling us Relief Factor gave you what you love. 3 weeks for just $17.76. Simply go to ReliefFactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. We hope you'll be sharing your story with us too. ReliefFactor.com or 1-800-4RELIEF.
Hey Jude,
That's a good one.
don't make it bad.
One of my favorites.
Take a sad
Singing about the son of John Lennon, am I right? All right. Joining me in the studio is Beatle aficionado. I know more than aficionado. What should I call scholar?
Freak. One level above scholar is
Freak
Beatles
is
freak.
Beatles freak. Okay. James Rosen joins us in the studio here. I've got you on. Let's just double check and make sure everything. Say hello to everybody if you would, please.
Hello to everybody, if you would, please.
All right, very good. So this is the second time that we have done an in-studio interview on the show, and you have been the subject of that interview both times. Congratulations.
Thank you very
In
much.
fact, I'm thinking you're only going to be the only in-studio guest we ever have.
I feel like a pioneer the way perhaps, say, a crash test dummy would feel like a pioneer.
That's a very good analogy. I was thinking more of like the guy who climbed Everest for the first time. But no, actually, crash test dummy I think is a much better announcement. Anyway, James Rosen, chief Washington correspondent for Newsmax. A lot of things happening in the news. I saw today, as far as Iran is concerned, Donald Trump has once again decided to back off the onslaught that has been going on the last 15 days or so. What do you suppose is happening there? It sounds like, one day they want to make a deal, the next day they don't want to make a deal. What is your take on this?
I think that observers of this conflict from every corner of the globe would be obliged to identify both parties to it as inconsistent in their messaging and perhaps in the framing of their original aims. President Trump began the conflict by saying that when we would be finished, the Iranian people should take over their government. It will be yours to take. Now there's very little discussion of the Iranians being in a position to take back that government after we have finished. Of course, it's not clear when we have finished. This reminds me about what Tom Wolfe once said about Muhammad Ali. It's difficult to tell when he has actually retired. This conflict has been over. It'll be over soon. Our war aims have been all over the map, and I think that honestly, the future for this conflict is going to be longer than anyone envisioned.
That's what I'm afraid of, to be quite honest. I support the mission. I want to see the Iranian people to be free. Perhaps, because all my adult life, I've watched Iran as a terror proxy and their terror proxy around the world, cause all these issues. And I was hoping with the dancing in the street that occurred all over the world when the Ayatollah was killed on day one, that the Iranian people would be ready to pick up the ball and overthrow their government. But you're also dealing with two generations of people who have been absolutely dominated by that government using fear, among other things.
And bullets.
And bullets to keep them in their place. So I'm not sure how we get them to do what needs to be done to overthrow the government. We do have some other support from other Arab states, which we haven't seen in a while. I'm hoping eventually that what will happen is that they'll expand the Abraham Accords and the other Arab states will recognize that maybe we should create paradise on earth rather than wait for paradise after death with however many virgins, whatever. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Other stuff going on in Michigan, a big primary. You've got Abdul al-Sayed and the Chris Farley's character from Matt Foley from SNL running for Senate there. And it looks like Abdul al-Sayed is way out in front in this race.
I'm surprised that in teeing up this subject, you would see fit to ridicule the moderate, whom I presume you would want to see prevail over the socialist in el-Sayed. Why? Because
you
want to see
rear end kicked in November.
I see. You want what you consider the weaker opponent for the Republican nominee, Mike Rogers. So this is an open Senate seat in Michigan due to the retirement of Democratic Senator Gary Peters, whom you may have seen at the Fauci hearing.
Yeah.
And it pits a kind of moderate centrist Democrat supported by AIPAC in the form of Representative Haley Stevens, a young woman who has pretty much her life been a political activist and an administrator of public programs, versus Dr. Abdul el-Sayed, who is a trained physician and who spent his career in public health programs in Detroit, running their public health program, and who is backed by the Democratic Socialists of America. And it's sort of like once again, a kind of Mamdanian phenomenon in which you have an attractive candidate who is sort of built for the social media era. One way to look at these things is, you can talk about how much money has flown in from this donor or that set of donors, but I think that el-Sayed has something like 100,000 followers on Instagram compared to about 1,000 for Haley Stevens.
Yeah.
And in today's day and age, that disparity in that particular arena of social media, particularly in primary settings, I think can't be neglected or that disparate without consequences at the balloting.
Well, he is behind Mike Rogers in several polls. Major new poll finds Republicans are on track to flip Michigan. Mike Rogers up by 3, 46 to 43 over. This is an epic MRA poll. I am going to stick with what my original prediction, that the socialists can win in Democrat enclaves, but I don't think they'll win nationally. We saw Kamala Harris trying to take the Democrat Party left in 2024, and she was soundly rejected.
Honestly, I would say to you that part of Kamala Harris's problem in 2024
she's an idiot,
is that she stood for nothing in no particular policy direction. Where she tried to take the United States woke and left was in the 2020 primaries. That's where you saw her endorse Medicare for All and the defunding of the cops and her opposition to fracking. It was her efforts to undo all of that in 2024 while still assuring us that her values had not changed.
Nobody believed her.
Well, in other words, if you tell me I've switched from one side of an issue to the other on 3 big issues, but my values remain the same, in essence, what you're training the electorate to understand about you is that your values are wholly divorced from the way that you govern.
Ding,
and,
ding,
and,
ding.
and which means either that you stand for nothing or that I can't tell exactly what you stand for, and that makes you exceptionally dangerous to me as a voter.
Well, absolutely, and you've got the Democrat socialists who, one of the hallmarks of some of these socialist candidates is the erasure of their social media in the past, espousing getting rid of the police, espousing getting rid of the Senate, espousing taking over, major corporations like communists do.
Praise for 9/11. That's another typically
There
erased sentiment.
Yes. Just a couple of little things there, and I believe, and I still believe, and I know this because I just know these things. The 2024 election was not necessarily about Kamala Harris. It was that they associated her with all of that nonsense, and they wanted no more of it. I know I'm going to be right on this, James. I've got good instincts political instincts when it comes to things like this. And right now you've got several of these DSA candidates who are trying to distance themselves from some of the parts of the platform, like getting rid of the Senate, but I believe, and everybody knows, they're still down with it. And that's why I don't think that they're going to win.
Well, they're down with the support. But, Kurt Vonnegut, the late great novelist, author of such classics as Cat's Cradle and Breakfast of Champions, Slaughterhouse-Five, he famously said that Americans make their choice for president based on which of the 2 competing TV shows they see arrayed before them they think that they can possibly stand to watch for the next 4 years.
There you go.
And under that rubric, who was going to choose the Hillary show over the Trump show? Who was going to choose Kamala's show over Trump's show? Maybe he's right. And I don't think that President Trump, who, of course, was very much a showman prior to becoming president of the United States in a variety of formats and media. I don't think that he would quarrel with that analytical assessment.
Still my favorite show, actually. I'll just be honest. It's my favorite show. More with James Rosen, Chief Washington Correspondent for Newsmax on The Rob Carson Show. Back in a second. It looks really good.
Yeah?
EVM.
More Beatles.
Sorry to adulterate your Beatles, but I'm going to play a soundbite over it.
When it's all over with, he's a man that's broken. He looks like an old punching bag that's worn out and is done in the gym. And why wouldn't he? You know, if Americans take the time to read his diary, they're going to see that this was a guy that was full of pride. He was drunk with power. He was drunk with pride. He was drunk with his own celebrity. This is the Anthony Fauci that I saw through those 5 years. Never any remorse, never any concern for the people dying, let alone the ones he was locking out of churches, out of schools, out of their jobs. He was not only reading his own press clippings, he was, putting them in his own diary as well, regaling over every one of them.
That is Senator Roger Marshall talking about Anthony Fauci and James Rosen, by the way, Chief Washington Correspondent, Newsmax, in the studio. Why we played the Beatles music. I likened him to a serial killer because serial killers, you may know the BTK killer or there were others. They would talk about the body count and then regale in the media coverage. And that's what it reminded me of, because a lot of his journal entries started with how many people died today, how many people were diagnosed. Julia Roberts fawned all over me. And, that may be a harsh comparison, but I think it's apropos. I think it's absolutely apropos.
I would say that the most damning evidence arrayed against Dr. Fauci to date is to be found outside of the confines of his diary, as unattractive or unappealing as some of the entries were to behold. Rather, the evidence that Chairman Paul, Senator Rand Paul, Republican of Kentucky, and the chair of the Senate Homeland Security Committee, who presided over the session in which Dr. Fauci pleaded the Fifth 111 times. He presented evidence in his opening statement that I thought was formidable in painting a picture of Dr. Fauci as someone who funded this gain of function research in China, experiments that are designed to produce greater lethality in coronaviruses specifically. And once the COVID virus emerged, took efforts to conceal or suppress or downplay that role, and also to mislead the American people into believing that the origin, and notice my use of the singular, the origin of COVID was zoonotic in nature rather than having derived from a laboratory leak, as the CIA has and others have subsequently found. And that evidence was compelling, it seemed to me, and therefore it was of especially disappointing to see Dr. Fauci decline to address it substantively, but for understandable reasons. One doesn't have...
What were the understandable reasons? Do you think he was going to perjure himself? He's technically not supposed to be able to plead the Fifth when he has gotten pardoned. It doesn't require great sympathy for Dr. Fauci in order to recognize that hearing as a potential perjury trap for any kind of witness. John Mitchell testified in the Senate Watergate hearings, and some of the overt acts on which he was later indicted included that testimony. This happens. But nonetheless, had he been pardoned?
Nonetheless, It shouldn't require that we have on our hands a character as seemingly conflicted as Dr. Fauci was in making public statements about what was really the origin of this thing, in order for us to take with good faith some of the actions of closing down schools and other public places, because after all, we hadn't seen a pandemic like this in over 100 years, it was uncharted territory for most public health officials. So I don't regard Dr. Fauci's greatest sin potentially as the shutdowns, because there were some good reasons to think that maybe that was an appropriate course of action.
Yeah, and everywhere that it wasn't imposed, they were perfectly fine. I'm gonna have to part with you on this, because I got two kids who were destroyed by it. We have to let you go because you got to get out of here. I want you to know that you were so well spoken that the giant headphones on your head, you barely even noticed them.
I feel like if I had a big black nose on, I could eat out of a dog dish and call myself Snoopy.
I brought in these headphones that I bought years ago from home that I haven't used forever. I bought them originally for audio podcasting because the closure on them is very good. But
I bought them originally to listen to Hall & Oates in the year 1976.
They are the most obnoxious-looking headphones you can imagine.
Thank you, Rob. It's always a pleasure to be with you, visit with you.
It's a way of mocking people. I
feel like Dukakis with these things.
You really do. You look like you should be peeking out of a tank. All right, so tell me what you're working on, by the way.
I'm going to be on Newsmax and Newsmax 2 in the 1 o'clock hour each, fronting some excerpts from the exclusive interview that I conducted this past week with the chairman of the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission. Right. Wow. This is the person who's in charge of advancing President Trump's agenda to get us back into nuclear energy in a big way.
All right. We'll watch for it. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Rob.
Thanks for wearing those absurdly large headphones.
Woof.
They are. It's funny, these things. I just bought them years ago. Like I said, I just started audio podcasting from home, and I needed headphones that had very good closure, because a lot of times you have a microphone and your headphones are too loud, it'll bleed through, blah, blah, blah. And they're the only ones that I had at home, and I mean, they really do. If you saw James on the video podcast, the live stream, you will agree. But anyway, that's the second time we've had a live studio interview. We will get different headphones, but I think it's working quite swimmingly. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Hey, listen, are you a 50-year-old person looking for term life insurance?
All right, guys. How are you? Who's watching today? Got to look at my screen over here. Hello, Conserve 1974. Beck Ottenberry, Valentina. How are you guys? Earnman to Duke Bear. I don't know what that is, but good to see you, GJ Gary, Scarecrow, all of you guys. Appreciate it. Can we get some Led Zeppelin up in here? Oh, well, we have Led Zeppelin in the rotation. We do. Thank you very much. Who's watching over on YouTubeage? Dusty Nunez. Talking about Sophie Cunningham. Yeah, she kicks ass. Shelby Inslee says loves listening to James Rosen. He is a very well-spoken guy, isn't he? Really wrong on a lot of things, but very well-spoken. America Marcy, how are you? What's going on? Glad to have you there, Deplorable Dinosaur. All of you guys watching on Twitter as well. Welcome to the show. Please come inside. Please come inside. Let me go over to Facebook. Yeah. I had a rough weekend. I'm going to be off a couple days this week, driving my daughter back to school. And I'll just be honest, I'm really dreading her going back. It's the thing that is the worst thing about divorce for me was the destruction of the family. And I said my proudest accomplishments were my family, my studio, and my kids. And, lost everything. And knowing that she's going to be back in Kansas City, I won't see her till Christmas, and I'll be back at my apartment by myself again. I'm not looking forward to it, to be honest. So, but it's bittersweet. No, it's mostly bitter. It's just mostly bitter. All right. Okay. I want to thank James Rosen for coming in, joining me on the show. We're doing working out a few bugs with the studio. This is the first time in the years that I've been working with Newsmax we have space for a guest and a camera for a guest. Things that I insisted on and built myself. They really didn't have a choice. I've taken a room the size of it would be a very uncomfortable guest bedroom. Not a queen size. You could put a twin bed in here and a dresser, or a good size walk-in closet. That's what I'm in right now. And I was given the space graciously by Newsmax to come here, and I love it, love it, love it. But I said, even though we're only going to be technically in this building through November and then move to another building, that if I'm going to be in the Newsmax building, I'm going to do this right. So we have 2 microphones, 2 cameras now. I've completely redone the interior of the building, of the room, with soundproof tiles and a neon sign and the whole deal. And as we move forward, things are going to keep getting better and better and better. So there you go. There you go. That's good news. And it is an honor. It's really an honor to be here. It has been much more difficult than I could have imagined moving into this building, but we are in here, and the next move will be much easier. Mike Rogers looks like he's going to be taking on Abdul Al-Sayed in Michigan. Haley Stevens it really has kind of fallen back in the pack. I kind of thought, since she was talking more populist in the campaign, that Sayed would begin to lose ground in Michigan, but there's a very large Islamist and I'm not saying Islamic, I'm saying Islamist population in the state of Michigan that is problematic to say the least, who are willing to support a man who is backed by the Muslim Brotherhood. Here is Mike Rogers, the Republican who will be presumably facing Abdul El-Sayed. Mike Rogers already leads. By the way, Haley Stevens was actually ahead of Mike Rogers in the polling, but it looks like Democrat idiots are going to choose Abdul El-Sayed, and he's already behind by 3.
They both start in a bad place, and then Abdul just pours his own little secret sauce of crazy on top of that. So all the polling shows us that he's the likely winner, and we're ready for this. And this is going to be the battle of those Democrat socialists across America, and then common sense. So you're going to have that crazy versus common sense battle right here in Michigan. And why we feel good about that, I mean, this is the state that put America on wheels. This is the state that did the middle class. So we feel pretty good that we're going to beat either one of these. And we look forward, if it's Abdul, we're going to take that head on.
And a lot of these DSA candidates are downplaying the platform, or those who say they are in the Democrat Party now, who are endorsed by the DSA, are downplaying that platform because they know it's bat crap lunacy. Now, to us, but it's not to them. They haven't given it up. They're not giving it up. They're fully invested in it. If they are elected, they will do everything they can to actually enact it. Getting rid of the Senate, getting rid of the border, getting rid of prisons. That's just insane. That's it. It must be crushed like a cigarette under the butt of your heel. It must be, and I believe will be, crushed under the butt of our heels. Coming up, we've got Anthony Fauci getting shredded. No. Yeah, he got shredded, but Dana Bash got shredded by RFK Jr. on CNN. And I've got a whole bunch of stuff that I've archived from what they did during COVID I'm going to share with you coming up on The Rob Carson Show. Don't go anywhere.
The Rob Carson Show is presented by Paramount Plus. The Rob Carson Show is presented by Paramount Plus.
You don't need to live with aches and pains. Visit relieffactor.com today.
Hold it now. You are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show, hour number 2 of the show on a Monday. I'll be taking off a couple days this week to return my daughter to Kansas City. I'm driving her back and not looking forward to it. I got to tell you, I'll just be honest with you. Not looking forward to it. It's, I loved having a nuclear family. I really, really did. I loved having a nuclear family. And I loved the possibility of spending the rest of my life with grandchildren coming to visit Grammy and Grandpa's house at Christmas time, and unfortunately that is not going to happen. It's very difficult to deal with. It's one of the many the shrapnel of a divorce, and I talked to people this weekend about the reason why I divorced, and I know that a lot of it was political. The country was intentionally divided. Starting 10 years ago, Donald Trump was called a Nazi. Donald Trump was called all of these things, and people were brainwashed into believing that all of it, and it was nonsense. It was all absolute nonsense, and consequently, some people bit and some people took it. Some people took the vaccine. Some people said nah. Some people, thought that all the protocols of COVID were fine. Some people with common sense, like me, said no. They're utterly ridiculous. They're utterly ridiculous. And then ultimately, families were divided, friendships were ruined, and all of these things. And I think it's a damned shame. It is a damned shame. And I got to tell you, there are days that I'm just so bloody disgusted with it. And maybe that's why I said I had a rough weekend. Because now I'm going to take my daughter back to Kansas City, and I won't see her until December. And anyway. And dating sucks. Dating sucks. I talked to somebody on Match.com that I talked to, and ultimately found out nothing in common at all. Just nothing in common at all. And, no. I mean, maybe if I was 21 years old, then, you're willing to bend a little bit if she's hot, and all of that. But now that I'm my age, no, not so much. Just not, no, don't really feel like doing that. Maybe I'll just stick with the dog. I mean, I should just stick with the dog. But I can't leave a dog in the apartment. Anyway, it's interesting. I would encourage you, if you can, stay married, to stay married. I think it really is a wonderful thing if you want to commit your life to someone, particularly if you have children together. But look what they did. Look what they did to our families. Look what they did to our friendships. I've got friends that I had for a dozen years who won't talk to me anymore. They will have my children to their home to visit in Maryland, but they won't invite me. And I can't say anything to my kids because they're adults now. So they can go up to the friend's house where I'm not welcome anymore. I don't necessarily approve of it. It's kind of sad, but I can't tell my kids who they should associate with. Anyway, I thought I'd share that. Maybe you've gone through the same thing. I'm sure many of you have gone through. I talked to other people this weekend who lost friends over the ridiculous demonization of, and this is all from one side. It is the Democrat Party, rabid, violent, just out of touch, irrational party that has convinced the media has carried their water, have convinced a good share of Americans that Donald Trump is a lot of things that he is not, to the point that he's nearly been assassinated, 4 assassination attempts, and 97% negative coverage, even when the news is good. And I got to tell you, I'm fighting mad over all of it. I really am. I'm fighting mad over all of it. I'm sick and damned tired of it. And I hope that if there are Democrats, and I know there are Democrats who listen, by the way, I hope that we can maybe have somebody like John Fetterman that we can break bread again with. But there's no negotiating with the Democrat Socialists of America. They just need to have their asses kicked. And I mean that 100%. They cannot be allowed to exist. They are communists. They cannot be allowed to exist. The party, not the people themselves in this country. Here's John Fetterman this weekend talking about the insanity that has infested the Democrat Party.
I'm never going to pander to the fringe or the crazies, in DSA. I'm a loyal Democrat. I vote the 92% line Democrat, but yes, without a doubt, I'm going to always proud and stand with Israel. And now I think it's always going to wrong to shut our government down. If we still try to do the same thing, I will be the only Democrat that will vote against that. But overall, look at the kind of people that are winning right now. And, Wisconsin, Hong, I think her name Hong.
Yeah.
I mean, she's running away with it now. Yeah. And no, that would put.
Francesca Hong, by the way, who is bipolar, was institutionalized for self-harm. Is bipolar. You don't get better from bipolar. You're always going to be bipolar. I'm just going to tell you that right now. And she appears to be the likely Democrat nominee for governor of Wisconsin. She, a few years ago, said cancel Thanksgiving, should have done this in 1621. Okay, that's her. She says, if it takes a worldwide pandemic for us to realize we should stop celebrating colonialism and the original super spreader event that killed indigenous people and women, so be it. She cleared that off her social media pages, but it goes on to live forever. And she right now is running away with the Democrat nomination in the state of Wisconsin.
Wisconsin in play, gubernatorial, because her views are, they're bizarre even for at least left people. I know a lot of great progressives, in the Senate. These people would never even believe and have those kinds of views.
Yeah, she's nuts. In a 2023 interview with Meal Magazine, she works at a restaurant. There you go. She's probably like a lot of. I got to open up the high end on this microphone a little bit. But Meal Magazine, she described intense numbness and emotional pain that led her to self-harm by cutting. Hong further stated she was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, was prescribed SSRIs, and overdosed on lithium. Yeah, that's a good choice. She could never be in the military. By the way, she could never fly a plane. Blaming the crisis on feeling like an outsider as the daughter of Korean immigrants. Really? Of all the crap that I went through growing up, I'm not bipolar because of it, and I didn't try cutting myself and ODing on lithium. Sounds like a spoiled, entitled little brat is what it sounds like. Old posts of her call to defund the police. Police exist to uphold white supremacy. Defund them. Abolish reform can't be an option. She also pushed abolish ICE, demand ICE out of Wisconsin and ICE out of the streets, and even called to abolish the Senate. That is who they are. That is who they are. Here is Eugene Daniels.
What I thought was really interesting.
He's just super, Eugene Daniels. He's just super. He's over on MSNBC. And he is saying that, they're really moderating. The DSA is moderating. No, they're not.
What I thought was really interesting and what I left with was that they're also understanding.
Oh, my God, this man is insufferable to listen to.
Understanding that this is a moment that they haven't had before and that they actually have to appear more serious.
Yeah, okay, so they're lying about who they are.
When I was talking to the co-chair at the beginning there, one of the other parts of the conversation was that, they know that people see them as like silly little kids that are playing politics.
No, we see them as a danger.
Where in fact, they could, take all of the anger that's happening in this country. And
where was the anger when Joe Biden, when inflation was 9% and groceries went up 30% while he was the president? It was hell for people. And nobody said anything about it.
Transition into something real. And so when you talk about, that little pamphlet I had was something that they were giving out to everyone. And what was not in there was the stuff that has gotten the most attention from their platform.
Here is the interview he did with a DSA co-chair.
What's interesting?
Here it is.
Let's talk about the platform.
Sure.
What's interesting is abolish the police is not in here.
The language that we actually have about the criminal justice.
They're hiding it. They're hiding it. All of the things that they've said, they still say. They're just hiding it, like Abigail Scambergler did to become the governor of Virginia.
System talks about how currently our police and prison system is stacked toward persecuting poor people and excusing rich people's crimes.
Not at all. Not one little bit.
I personally have no problem with having something called a prison be the place where people like that are kept if they can't
So
be
why is
rehabilitated.
abolish prisons the thing? Is it just that it's
It's the dumbest thing you could ever imagine.
The language that we have in there is abolishing the police and prison system that protects capital over people. These horrible crimes that have been perpetrated by some of the most powerful people in society are.
Well, oh my God, yeah, this is why we consider them stupid children, and they need a spanking. Bill Maher went off this weekend. Bill Maher is a common sense liberal, and his monologue on the DSA this weekend was absolutely excellent. I'll play a little bit of it, one soundbite here, then we'll save the rest of it for after the break. But I'm hoping and praying this will catch on with people who want to come together instead of just living in division forever.
They're not trying to hide it. Their most popular influencer, Hassan Piker, thinks communism is so groovy. He laments the fall of the two of the most murderous regimes in history, the Soviet Union and Chairman Mao's China.
Yeah.
Mamdani's aide, his top aide, Sia Weaver, said, if you don't believe...
Barack Obama put a Mao ornament on the Christmas tree, his first Christmas in the White House, and it was to send a message.
Even the
we're in now.
Government's sacred right to seize property, it's over, and impoverish the white middle class. What?
Yeah.
That's a goal?
Yeah, a lot of us are already there, and I have been actually, most recently like 6 years ago, impoverished.
You know you're supposed to scare people into voting for you, right?
Yeah.
One of the new soon-to-be Democratic Congresspeople, Darlisia Chevalier, supports seizing all properties from landlords.
Yeah.
And said, seize the means of production.
Yeah.
Mamdani has said the end goal is seizing the means of production. I think they want to seize the means of production.
That's called communism. It's not legal. It can't be in office in the United States of America. It can't. It cannot. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
WCBM.
Got a rejoin.
One thing I would like to see updated is the word homeless to the word unhoused.
How about new?
Now, maybe you missed that in school or missed school altogether, but that's communism. That's communism, which we tried, and it doesn't work. Parties can change sometimes, you know. Who freed the slaves? Republicans.
Yeah, we did.
Lincoln. Democrats were the racist party back then. The DSA itself has switched, even 5 years ago. It shunned communists. That changed. Things change. Now the coalition within the DSA, called the Marxist Unity Group, is in ascendance. And I must take them at their word when their words include, our commitment is to the long-term struggle for a fully liberated, classless society, in a word, communism.
Yeah.
What do they have to do? Tweet out, elect more communists? Oh, yeah, Sia Weaver did that. Yes. Good, I'm glad you're shocked.
Yeah, his audience was shocked. Bill Maher's audience was shocked. I believe we're going to defeat this. I really do. We're at the beginning of a battle, of an absolutely epic battle against this nonsense, these children. And we're going to give them the spanking of a lifetime. Here's Bill Maher talking about the Democrat Party being colonized.
It's so ironic from the people who obsess about colonization. You know what's being colonized now?
What?
The Democratic Party.
Yeah.
Last month, 2 Democratic congressmen released an open pledge they wanted their fellow Democratic members to sign. It said, we are capitalist, not socialist. We want safety, not lawlessness. We are proud, not ashamed of America. These should not be hard words for a congressional Democrat to sign on to. You know how many did? 8. Yeah. 8 out of 212. Guys, really, there's got to be an easier way to lose the swing states.
You would think. Here is a little bit more at Bill Maher, and we'll wrap things up.
No, this nonsense is not where most Democratic politicians are right now. But
then they'd better start speaking up.
It's also becoming a raging fire festival in the party that neither is anyone putting out. People are actually getting elected now who literally don't think we should have police or prisons or borders. Ask Ms. Chevalier about the border. She says, yes, literally abolish the border. This crowd literally wants to get rid of our form of government, the Senate, but also, and I quote, replace the president and Supreme Court with an executive and judiciary chosen by and subordinate to Congress. Yeah, no biggie. Just taking the very essence of our government, which is 3 branches checking each other.
Yeah, see, it's not going to happen because this is seditious. This is treasonous. It's not going to happen. You can throw a tantrum all you want, but we live in a representative republic. Unless you want an armed conflict and you win an armed conflict, you're not going to seize control of the government and change the foundational principles of the government. Here is a final wrap-up from Bill Maher talking about the insane woman, Francesca Hong, the bipolar woman who's running for Wisconsin governor.
Francesca Hong, yet another major Democratic candidate who's all in on abolishing the police and is running for governor of Wisconsin, says, I think that my perfect world would be a world without prisons. Because we all see the humanity in one another, and then we know nobody's disposable. Well, murder victims are. I mean, if you heard this kind of nonsense coming out of the mouth of a teenage beauty queen, it would be an eye roll. Now, Gavin Newsom disagrees. He says he's good with it because the party is a big tent. Well, you know what else you find in a tent? Clowns. Get your head out of your ass. I would vote for Sarah Palin before this shit. She's a bimbo, but if you asked her to come up with something she likes about America, she could do it.
There you go. There you go. If you've lost Bill Maher, and you have lost Bill Maher, have you ever heard him talk like this before about people in the Democrat Party? Have you ever heard John Fetterman like that? Joe Manchin like that? The Democrat is cleaving in half. Actually, it's more like 2/3 versus 1/3. 1/3 said they're cool with it. But the more who find out about what they want, the more they go, no, we don't want to be a part of it. We don't want to be part of it. Let's move on to Tony Fauci. Tony Fauci got off last week easy by pleading the fifth. Here is Lydia Moynihan on CNN talking about the damage this man caused and what he should be held accountable for.
Let's be super clear, though. Based on his policy recommendations, there were people removed from beaches at gunpoint.
Yeah.
There were people who were trying to open a gym so people could work out outside. They were arrested. Children who weren't able to go to school. People who committed suicide because of the social isolation. And anytime that anybody dared to ask a question about herd immunity, COVID origins, the vaccine, are there other treatments? They were systematically silenced. They were deplatformed. In some cases, they were fired. Their lives were ruined. And at the same time, now these diaries have revealed Dr. Fauci was more concerned about being on Zooms with celebrities. He was more concerned about...
Now, I saved some articles that I went through an archive because I knew what we went through during COVID with the censorship and everything would be historical. And I, if you're watching in the stream right now, these are some of the articles that I saved. The number one that I saved, this came out on March 17th, 2020. A bioengineer with 4 degrees from the MIT said that how do they put it? The sinister truth about basically said that this would be the biggest psyop in the history of mankind. This is Robert Redfield. I say this. CDC director admits there is a perverse incentive for hospitals to overcount COVID deaths. I saved that. That's from 2020. That is a piece by Lawrence Richard. And that's what he said. He said that there was a perverse incentive to overdiagnose COVID and also put it on death certificates. And you know what the perverse incentive was? It was money. It was money. Here is Robert Redfield this weekend.
Obviously, that there was significant limitations of the vaccine. It didn't prevent infection. There was, in fact, evidence of side effects, and now as a clinician, I take care of patients, that number of which have vaccine injury. In his diaries, we didn't know it at the time, but he talks about how he got vaccinated and later had a pulmonary embolus, which we now know microcoagulation and emboli is a significant injury that's associated with the mRNA vaccine.
I think the story of COVID and the lies and the things they put us through and the damage they cause is not going to be swept under the rug. It did not end with Tony Fauci pleading the fifth last week, and we can never forget what they did to us. Ever, ever, ever. Let's take a break and come back. Former federal prosecutor Doug Burns joins us on the other side of the break. Don't go anywhere. This isn't the end of a fight. It's the start of one. Lioness, the critically acclaimed original series from Taylor Sheridan, returns August 2nd only on Paramount+. It's the new season. Hidden networks, foreign operatives, and personal betrayals collide while Joe walks the line between duty and family. Don't miss Lioness, starring Zoe Saldana, Michael Kelly, with Morgan Freeman and Nicole Kidman. Now streaming on Paramount+. Hey guys, it's Carson. You know, when it comes to supplements, two things matter most. A, that it works, and B, that you can trust it. We hear from people every single day whose lives have changed, including mine, and we'd like you to hear a few of their stories. Chris has spent years of doing physical work, leaving his feet sore at the end of the day. After starting Relief Factor, he felt so good, he did something he'd never done before. He ran a half marathon. Now he tells all his friends about Relief Factor. I can still move furniture, I can still ride my mountain bike, I can still lift heavy weights, and Relief Factor makes all of those tasks pain-free for me. 3 weeks for just $17.76. Simply go to ReliefFactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. We hope you'll soon be sharing your story with us too. Again, ReliefFactor.com or 800-4RELIEF.
How are you going to keep people from taking advantage of that, that deal, basically, and is there going to be a limit on the number of items that someone can take that are discounted at that level from that essential basket?
So our RFP makes very clear that this...
Talking about socialized grocery stores in New York City.
...is a program for New Yorkers to be able to put food on the table, not a program for people to be able to make a quick buck through reselling. I'm going to pass it over to our EDC head, G-Pack, to add some additional details.
Guess what? You got to have an ID to shop at the government grocery store.
Yes, if you look at our RFP for the operator, we are looking to make sure that we target New Yorkers, whether it be at sort of a library card-esque thing, and also we manage who's buying, and that is focused on everyday New Yorkers. So we are mindful of that. And so we're going to make sure that we have all the things in place.
I got to tell you, they are just so profoundly ignorant. They're going to do these government-run stores. Now they're having to qualify what you can get, when you can get it, how much it's going to cost. Only 30 items are the ones going to be discounted. It sounds exactly like a Cuban grocery store in the communist state of Cuba, and that's what's going to happen to New York City. Here to talk about this and so much more, Doug Burns, former federal prosecutor. Welcome to the show, my friend. How are you?
Thanks, Rob. How are you?
Good. There are some of these bodega owners considering a lawsuit against Zohran Mamdani for government grocery stores, and I would I'd like to think that there would be grounds for a lawsuit, because couldn't you technically do that with restaurants too? Couldn't you open a government restaurant and make a cheeseburger $2 sitting next to? Honestly, it's utterly ridiculous.
Well, first of all, under simplification, these stores don't work, okay? And that's been proven time and time again. And I mentioned to you a couple weeks ago that, I've seen stories reported, positive stories, about women from, communist, socialist-type countries who go into an American grocery store and almost break down crying at the abundance, the phenomenal abundance that, we take for granted. We try not to take it for granted. But the point is, these stores are not going to work. They're going to completely flame out. And then the legal question you asked is very tricky, and I'd actually have to think about that and break that down. But I'm good at guessing after all these years, and I'm going to tell you right now that there would be some viable, causes of action, as we call it.
Yeah, Doug, can you hold on? Doug, you sound a little overmodulated. Could you go back off the phone just a little bit? You sound a little overmodulated. I apologize. Okay,
I'm on a cell phone, which I'm not usually on. Is that a little better?
Yeah, just bring your face away from the phone just a skosh. It's a little overmodulated.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go. That's better. Thank you. That's much better. Love your voice. Just don't want it to be overmodulated.
No. Of course, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm traveling and I'm using my cell phone. So anyway, the point is, they could sue and say that they're interfering with the ordinary course of, their business as grocers in an unfair way, and there would be all kinds of possible trade statutes, things like that, Rob.
This rent control thing that they are attempting to do, and this rent board that they've established that is made up of sycophantic socialists like Zohran Mamdani, that's another thing that sounds terribly unconstitutional with regard to the ownership of property and renting out that property. You've also got a candidate, Chevalier, literally wants to seize properties from landlords. Again, this sounds all absolutely unconstitutional and should be stopped in its tracks. What do you think?
No, totally agree. In other words, you can't just seize property from people with no reason whatsoever. So you have the thing that you just laid out, which is, seizing property and then renting it out to others. That's a disgrace. You have this pied-à-terre tax thing,
yes,
which is just insane. You might as well just point a firearm at wealthy people and say, give me money out of your wallet. I mean, it's just crazy. He's proposing, for your audience who may not be as familiar with what's going on here in New York, a 4 or 5% tax, properties worth over $1 million, which in today's climate, encompasses more than ever for people who use them as second homes. It's totally disgraceful. And as I said last week, under my philosophy of people are going to wake up, people are going to show up, these type of things are tickets for him to guarantee that he doesn't get reelected. In my opinion, I could be wrong.
The pied-à-terre tax exists only to exist. There's no reason to it. There's no rhyme to it. And he doxed all of these people. And there are several leftists who own property who feel somehow violated. They were for it. They thought it was great until they were doxed. I mean, Doug, this is painting a target on people as communists and Marxists have done in the past, and I believe I believe it absolutely is, because he also, in the same breath, said protest. That billionaire, what's his name, who had the $200 million plus property, stood out in front of his property and encouraged essentially people to come there, protest, and harass, and that's what it seems he's trying to do with all the other people on this list.
No, it's totally crazy. I mean, the thing you just mentioned about people on the other ideological side being hit by it, I mean, that's like the old adage of, being in favor of, whatever low-income, real estate project until, it's put right in your backyard. Then all of a sudden you're against it. We've seen that hypocrisy time and time again. But again, I've asked rhetorically on your show many, many times, if a lot of these policies are so crazy, so lunatic, why in the world are they viable? But I finally got the answer, and I don't take credit for it. It was somebody who was like a political expert in a green room was saying it's this primary process, particularly in Congress. So the point is, you can be taken out in a primary with 7% of the vote, yes, which are the rabid, far, far lefties, because otherwise there's no way they would be pandering to these people, Rob.
Do you think that New Yorkers are finally starting to get it? I mean, you've got 62,000 families that have signed on a petition to make sure that Zohran Mamdani does not attend the 9/11 memorial. And I think people are finally starting to understand the danger they're in New York City by these radical leftists and Islamists. Do you think that people are finally getting pissed off enough to say enough is enough with regard to this?
100%. I've said before, I'll say again, that, with the caveat that I'm not the per se political expert, politics is very cyclical, obviously, and it goes up in different cycles. In my 65-plus years on this planet, it's almost a dead split between Democrats and Republicans in the White House, numerically, both in the 30s in years. And the fact of the matter is, with Mamdani, everybody slept through everything. People are apathetic. People are busy with their jobs and their families. I get that. Nobody's paying attention. But highly, highly intelligent people, including my very next-door neighbor in my apartment building, looks me right in the face and goes, oh, I'm going to vote for Mamdani, a Jewish person, having just invested no effort to learn anything about what was going on. Now, to answer your question, and you're so right, people are definitely waking up, and they're starting to see that the guy's an out-and-out anti-Semite, obviously. He wants to just confiscate your property. Since when is that going to be viable in New York City? Yeah. Probably the capital of capitalism in the world, right?
Yep. Doug, I'm telling you, we're going to take a break. And Brian, I'd like you to reconnect with Doug. This phone line is terrible. And we got to figure out how to make it sound better, because I want to be able to hear you without it being overmodulated. So if you wouldn't mind, Doug, Brian will call you back or whatever. Just figure it out. And we'll come back from the break. Much more to cover with Doug Burns on Twitter at Doug Burns Law, by the way. Let's take a break and come back. This is The Rob Carson Show. Does it sound overmodulated to you, Brian?
and I've been doxxed.
You've been doxxed? What? Tell me.
So I don't know if you've heard, but Mayor Mamdani has decided to release a list of the 950,000 residences with addresses and names that might be eligible for his pied-à-terre tax. I came out in favor of this tax. This is the definition. He's taken a legitimate source of tax revenue and he's turning it into a wanted poster. And the question I would have is, other than trying to identify and imply these people have done something wrong, and then 18 months after a healthcare CEO was executed in the street and then published the list, what is the upside here? Why is he doing this?
This is Scott Galloway. Because you're a useful idiot, you moron. Don't you know this is what Marxists and communists do? They lie to you to get your vote, and once they have your vote and then they're in office, they kill you. There you go. Now, is Zohran Mamdani going to kill him? No. But has he painted a target on people like Scott Galloway, that guy's back? Yes, he did. And it is to be expected. It's history repeating itself again and again and again. Isn't it, Doug Burns?
It absolutely is. And by the way, there's a couple technical wrinkles here. The first technical wrinkle is a lot of these real estate records, believe it or not, are available for people who have the skill, wherewithal, ability to search them, whether it be going into an office and looking through the dusty old real estate books, which I've done many times years and years ago when I was asked by a partner, go find the record for such and such house, or now on computers. But the fact of the matter is, again, it's that old hypocrisy. Oh, I'm totally in favor of all this Robin Hood stuff. Take from the rich, give to the poor. But the minute they knock on the rich guy's door for the money, then all of a sudden they're against it.
And the same goes for a lot of Jewish voters in New York City. Alan Dershowitz this weekend was commenting about that. Let me show you. Yeah, here's Alan Dershowitz talking about the Jewish population in New York City.
I have to tell you that the real problem are Jews. Jews in the Upper West Side, Jews in the Upper East Side, Jews in Park Slope, the Jews who voted for Mamdani. Remember, 7,000 Jews voted for Adolf Hitler in 1932. Most of them ended up in the gas chambers. And these idiot Jews, they have no idea what they're doing. And, people say Jews are smart. Yeah, they're smart Jews. Some of the dumbest people I've ever met are Jews from Park Slope and Upper East Side and Upper West Side who don't understand where their own interests lie.
Like your neighbor, Doug. Like your neighbor.
Talking about my neighbor.
Yeah, I know.
Of course. She looks me right in the face. She goes, I'm going to vote for Mamdani. He really seems to be affording us change. And also, on this affordability and the prices. I mean, obviously the superficiality, the overgeneralizations are breathtaking. That's what they play into, politicians. We know that. Barack Obama, hope and change. That's it. That's the extent of the intellectual level of it. Right.
Bumper stickers.
So the point is, but people got to wake up and they got to show up. I know I sound like a broken record, but wake up and show up. And Jewish people should be ashamed of themselves. Professor Dershowitz is one of the hugest experts on Jews and Jewish history. I've read a number of his books, et cetera, et cetera. I have a lot of respect for the professor, and the fact of the matter is he's absolutely right. And I've been telling my wife over and over again, I said, any Jewish person who voted for this guy is dumber than a box of rocks.
100%. GOP Governor hopeful Bruce Blakeman rips Mamdani over intentional Little Italy snub from Immigrant Map. He sounds like he's nipping at Kathy Hochul's heels in the upcoming election for governor. And if he becomes governor, do you suppose that he will put the hammer down on Mamdani instead of the nonsense that he's doing in New York City?
100% right on the money. I think we talked about this last time I was on with you, which is that Mamdani better be concerned up to worried that Blakeman, if he pulls this thing out, we had a Republican governor, George Pataki.
Yeah.
I lived through that era, obviously. Al D'Amato promoted Governor Pataki, who I've met a number of times. But the fact of the matter is, Blakeman just might turn around and certainly, before we get to actually doing it, but certainly start floating the idea, hey, I'm thinking of removing this.
Yeah. I hope they do. And you know what? I hope they do. And if they want to riot, they can riot. I don't even give a flying crap. This guy cannot be allowed to continue to be the damn mayor of New York City. This is absolutely preposterous what he is doing. And I think people have had enough of it. If I think he tries to show up at that 9/11 ceremony, there's going to be hell to pay. Because Hillbillies, Homeboys, and Hebrews are done with his crap.
Yeah, he just went to an event. And
a funeral.
Okay, there it is. And he's sitting there waiting in the wings to give his great oratorical flourish in his eulogy, and they never called on the guy, which was great. And the fact of the matter is, the 9/11, a lot of people have come out publicly, left and right, saying that this guy has no place at that event, and we don't want him there. And again, to your thesis, I mean, from your mouth to God's ears, as we always say, I'm telling you right now, this guy is losing lots and lots of support.
Yeah, by the way, he was snubbed from eulogizing Army Sergeant Angel Sarah Rampersad at the Fallen Soldiers Queen's funeral on Friday. He was sitting there with his iPad. He was getting ready to do his commentary and his eulogy, and they did not call on him, and he was not accepted. I'm going to tell you, this sentiment is only growing, and it's going to explode. He picked a really bad time to do some of this crap. The 25th anniversary of 9/11, the 250th year of the birth of our nation, as the DSA is rising. They picked a really piss poor year to try to take over, and it's going to blow up in their faces, Doug.
Couldn't agree more, and that's a great point, which I hadn't thought of, which is, the 250th anniversary of the country, exactly, the seminal anniversary of the tragedy of 9/11, and it's just not the right time to do this.
We've had enough.
Most of us
in
New York City are just scratching our heads saying, how did anybody vote for this guy?
We're fighting mad. Doug, we are fighting mad. The left has declared a de facto civil war on us. They've waged a war on us with billions of dollars in damage, thousands of injuries, more and more and more. They have soldiers by proxy in Antifa and these leftist groups, and we are on a battle footing going into this election, and we've had enough. We've suffered too many indignities, Doug. You know this as well as I do, and I think it's time that people like Zohran Mamdani got their rear ends kicked up between their shoulders. Doug, we got to go, brother, but I appreciate you. Thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. God bless. Hang in there, brother. Hang in there. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Hey, guys. Tom K. Self-loathing Jew. That's what it is. The self-loathing Jew. It's the same way with women who fall in love with death row inmates. It's the same craziness. It's the same people that, LGBTQIA plus people who are down with, Hamas, and want to go to Gaza. They're self-loathing, delusional, mentally ill people. That's all there is to it. Oh, man. All right. Zakia Maxwell, hello. I don't know where you're promoting a GoFundMe, but we don't do that on the Twitter feed, so let's not do that, okay? We don't do that on our Twitter feed. It is not here for you to beg for money. I don't care what if you got something going on, I apologize, but you can't beg for money here. Wild Bill West, hello. Dookie Bear, DC 42. How you doing? The Bongino calls them smart, dumb people. Yeah, they're book smart. They're book smart. They're not smart. They're book smart. I talked to a woman like that this weekend. Very book smart, but not enjoyable at all to talk to. It was like, ugh. I mean, you're smart, but ugh. There's nothing, I don't like anything about you. And this woman is 54 years old and single. And, it's interesting because guys, when they're 54 and single, it's usually because they're gay. Women, when they're 64 and single, there's something going on. There's something going on. And there was something going on with the person I talked to this weekend. I'm like, no, thanks. No, thanks. No, thanks. All right, here we go.
About 3.5 here.
Come on. AC/DC. Never get tired of this. So we're talking about this Marley Hornick New York Citizens audit, and they found that a large number of non-existent or unqualified voters in New York City voted for Zohran Mamdani. I'm hoping that hopefully a governor will take over we'll have a Republican governor of the state of New York. It's the only thing that's going to save New York. But this Marley Hornick found out that 7%, 68,000, were from non-existent records. 6%, that's 59,000, fell into the 773 to 999 range of Social Security numbers. Those are people born after 2011 who wouldn't have been eligible and old enough to vote. Okay? Then also they 10% did not live in the Big Apple, 91,000. 1% have no Social Security number whatsoever. That's 9,000 people. Out of 2.2 million voters, they studied 1 million of them, and they found more fraudulent votes than his margin of victory, which would call into question his victory as the mayor, and he's being exposed, and we must be relentless, absolutely relentless when it comes to these animals thinking that they can just come in and take over our country and turn it into something that it never was and never will be. All of us have, I'm sure, relatives or friends who served in the military. Maybe you have relatives who died defending America and battling Marxism and communism in other countries. And by God, and I mean this, truly by God, we are not going to let this take over our country. Like I said earlier, we are as far as I'm concerned, we are on a war footing in this country. We are on a war footing with regard to the Democrat Socialists, and the Democrat Party had better do something about it because they're going to be regretting it. The Democrats are telling Mamdani to pipe down the rhetoric on the pied-à-terre tax, by the way.
Nearly a dozen DSA activists have reportedly signed a pledge to support and defend China.
Yeah, that's the DSA.
Amid an apparent push by the communist nation to court.
And I wouldn't doubt that this DSA movement is funded by the Chinese Communist Party.
Socialists in America. Meanwhile, New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani is facing backlash for his socialist policies. Now, according to Politico, Mamdani's finance agency urged him to tone down his contentious tax the rich rollout. It reports, quote, behind the scenes, veterans of city government had tried to convince Mamdani's team not to deliver the news in such a splashy way. Officials in New York City...
No, just keep it under wraps. Just stab him in the back quietly.
Department of Finance, which is responsible for implementing and collecting the new tax, urged the mayor's staff to take a more staid approach.
Yeah, but they haven't. They shot their wad. That's a Civil War expression, by the way. When you do a muzzle loader, there's the wadding, the padding, and the powder, and the shot itself. So there you go. But they shot their wad. They immediately posted all of the people that could be subject to pied-à-terre tax, even if they weren't. Gave names and addresses so they would be harassed and marked. Absolutely 100%. Hour number 3 of the Rob Carson Show is right ahead. Do not go anywhere.
The Rob Carson Show is presented by Paramount Plus. The Rob Carson Show is presented by Paramount Plus.
You don't need to live with aches and pains. Visit relieffactor.com today.
Hold it now. Live from Newsmax Studios in Washington, D.C., the most interesting, informative, and funny show in America, on air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show. Hope you had a glorious weekend. Mine was pretty good. I had a few bumps to work over. It was a little, little stuff going on. But anyway, glad to be back on the air. I'm going to be taking a couple days off this week. Excuse me, to take my daughter back to Kansas City. And normally I don't, I haven't. I think I've had one vacation day this year. I did have some days off. I had a medical procedure one day. Had a one day that we didn't have the studio together here, and I really hated the fact that I wasn't able to go on the air. But we just couldn't get the studio put together in time here in the Newsmax building. And so I missed that day. But I'm taking a couple of days off this week to go with my daughter back to Kansas City. It is I would say bittersweet, but it's not. It's actually just kind of bitter. I'm going to miss her. And my little dog, by the way, her name is Desi. It's been a delight to have both of them here this summer with me. And now we go back to living in an apartment, bachelor pad, with a big TV and me. So there. I was talking earlier about some of the stories that I saved over the years, starting in 2020. I kept a lot of stories that I printed off because I wanted them as an archive of the abuses and usurpations we were suffered by Joe Biden and the Democrat Party and Tony Fauci and the DHS under Joe Biden and the censorship industrial complex. I wanted to keep these stories because I didn't want what they did to us to fade into a distant memory. And that's what the media is trying to do to us right now. They're trying to make us forget, Tony Fauci, he tried to save millions. No, he didn't. He was a lying son of a bee. And he caused a lot of deaths, and he paid to create a virus that he was not supposed to be paying for. He had it produced in a lab in China, and it was released on the world. He's a monster. He's Joseph Mengele of America. Anthony Fauci is the Joseph Mengele of America. And if you're willing to forgive and forget that, then you shouldn't be on television. You should not have a job as a journalist. If you are willing to just look past what this SOB did to us, did to our families, did to our businesses, did to our lives, did to our children, my God in heaven, I will never forgive this man. I would like to see him lined up against a wall. I don't think that's going to happen. And the day that we just allow these kind of things to happen and then not hold anyone accountable is absolutely, absolutely unacceptable. Here are some of the headlines. I mentioned this earlier. CDC director admits there's a perverse incentive for hospitals to overcount COVID. During a Housing and Reform Committee on Friday, this was 2020, Robert Redfield reportedly admitted that these health facilities and personnel would list a victim who died of another cause as having died of coronavirus because there's greater in reimbursement. I told you this, my sister had a friend whose dad died of dementia, and they put on his death certificate COVID. He didn't test positive for COVID. They lied about it. They lied about it to get paid. More people were listed as dying of COVID than actually died of COVID. Confidential Pfizer document shows the company observed 1.6 million adverse events covering nearly every organ system. Pfizer's pharmacological pharmacovigilance documents requested by the EU's drug regulator show that Pfizer knew about a sickening level of injury. On August 2022 document shows that the company had observed the following scope of vaccine injury: 508,000 individual cases of adverse events containing 1,597,000 events. One-third of the AEs were classified as serious, well above the standard. Women reported AEs 3 times the rate of men. 60% of cases were reported either outcome unknown or not recovered. Some of these injuries were not transient. Highest number of cases occurred in the 31 to 50 year age group, and 92% did not have comorbidities, which makes it more likely it was the vaccine causing such widespread sudden injury. NHS director confirms hospitals lied about the cause of death to create illusion of COVID pandemic. Rhoda Wilson, January 17th, 2023. Before COVID, 4 types of pneumonia added together were the highest cause of deaths in the UK. In a newly implemented medical examiner system to certify deaths, the medical examiner was certifying all types of pneumonia deaths as COVID-19. Patients were admitted and dying with very common conditions such as old age, myocardial infarctions, end-stage kidney failure, hemorrhages, strokes, COPD, cancer. They were certified as death via COVID. I'm not forgetting. FDA rushed approval for Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine to enable vaccine mandates. U.S. regulators sped up the approval of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine to enable vaccine mandates, and Anthony Fauci forbade doctors to use hydroxychloroquine or ivermectin as a prophylaxis because it would have ruined the emergency declaration they made, which forced people to get vaccines. He's a monster. Terrible toll of COVID school closures evaluated. Prestigious study shows American school children slipped 6 months behind math, with students in poorest areas now 2.5 years behind. Stanford study, COVID death risk near zero for vast majority of people. Stanford University medical scientist Professor John Ioannidis has contended for more than 2.5 years that data indicate the risk of death from COVID for the vast majority of people is nearly zero, making comprehensive lockdown, school closures, and vaccine mandates unnecessary. It was a psyop. It was meant to kill the economy in an election year. It was monstrous. Mandating COVID shots, one of the greatest mistakes, former CDC chief says. Robert Redfield confirmed the dangers of mRNA COVID-19 vaccines in the U.S. Senate hearing July 11th, calling them toxic and saying they should have never been mandated. Yeah. I had Robert Redfield earlier. Here's a little more of Robert Redfield this weekend talking about this.
So I think the American public was misled in that regard too. This vaccine never prevented infection. So when people said vaccinate your children so they don't infect grandma, that was just a false statement. The American public was definitely misled. He definitely had an intentional role, unfortunately, in misleading the American public around the origin of the virus, for sure, around the efficacy of the vaccines.
Yeah. It's just so sickening. I'm never going to forget having to wear a frickin' mask and breathe my own CO2 back in everywhere I went. 2 years at a car dealership with people who would go to complain with my manager that I wasn't wearing the mask properly. And going everywhere they made us wear freaking surgical masks everywhere. How freaking insane is that? They did it to broadcast fear, and more importantly, they did it to show that we would succumb to them. We would do it, and they did it. More evidence COVID was engineered in a lab. Another explosive study dismisses natural origin theory, but experts say it's just more uninformed nonsense. Researchers studied COVID's genome and compared it to other coronaviruses. Team detected peculiar patterns that are hallmarks of man-made viruses. Second largest teachers union boss slammed after agreeing with pandemic amnesty plea. American Federation of Teachers Randy Garden faced heavy scrutiny after publicly publicizing her support for an article published Monday which called on its readers to declare amnesty for spreading misinformation during COVID pandemic. Millions of Americans assigned secret COVID decree violation scores to help Democrats win swing states. Over 100 million Americans were tracked from their cell phones and assigned COVID-19 decree violation scores throughout the COVID lockdowns. PredictWise, a voter analytics firm, harvested data from tens of millions of U.S. cell phones, provided the data to Democrat campaigns and the Democrat National Committee to develop campaign targeting swing voters. I can go on and on. I got more of these. Teen dies days after collapsing on basketball court after COVID shot. 25-year-old goalkeeper dies suddenly after COVID shot. 17-year-old football player dies suddenly in his sleep following cardiac arrest following COVID shot. 12-year-old football player dies suddenly after collapsing on field during practice after COVID shot. I saved them all. I saved them all. I saved them all because I knew what was happening was monstrous. I knew what was happening was monstrous and unprecedented. And I'm not letting it go. 92% of corpses had received COVID vaccination within 2 weeks of death. A funeral director from New Zealand says 95% of the corpses he has seen had received COVID-19 vaccine within 2 weeks of their passing away. 95% of people who passed away through the work that I've done have been vaccinated within the last 2 weeks. These are people who had COVID comorbidities. It's very obvious they die within 2 weeks of receiving the vaccination. A lot of them appear almost to have died from anaphylaxis, almost a reaction straight away to the booster. And Anthony Fauci wants us to forget about it, and he thinks that the Fifth Amendment's going to protect him. I do not believe that. Dana Bash went after RFK Jr. over the weekend. I want to share some of the audio on the other side of the break. I'm glad that I wanted to share this with you. I've waited 6 years to share this with you. I saved this. There's more. I just touched the surface on what I've saved, and you should see what I've saved from when they censored us and the evidence that they did censor us, and that we can never allow this to happen again, ever, and the people who did it need to pay for it with their freedom and maybe their lives. Let's take a break and come back. This is The Rob Carson Show.
Here's the deal.
slowing the spread of the stupid every day. It's the Rob Carson Show.
Forget the economics of the businesses that they destroyed, but what about the business owners that have committed suicide because they lost everything? Have we taken an account of the elderly? I have a bag of letters from people all over the world that begged me to please keep talking, that nobody was talking for them. An elderly man in New York that gave me $10 from his Social Security that said all he wants to do is kill himself. So we don't even, the down effect of the fact that he held this information, he could have acted in the best interest of everybody's health and went down a different direction. And he chose, as a true narcissist, as a mad scientist, to go with his ego and to try to cover up information that has changed the course of history.
Yeah, I'll never forget going by the basketball courts and the skate park near my home in Kansas. And they put sand in the skateboard park so the kids couldn't go skateboarding. And the police would roll up on you if you were on the basketball court. Unbelievable. This is, by the way, that is woman Angela Marsden. She is a restaurateur from the state of California. And she says that Fauci should be punished severely for what he did to us.
He needs to be not in jail. I don't know what we need to do with him, but it seems like jail is even too kind for someone like this. And when Moreno was speaking to him, it almost seemed like he was getting bothered, like he actually was feeling some of what he did. Mm-hmm. You know, I was telling a few people that I was going to come on today. A lot of the disabled actors that could not take the vaccine lost their jobs and still today are not working. You're talking about living in poverty. So it's not just the deaths and then the vaccines. I personally believe the vaccine killed my father. I have vaccine injured clients coming in here that have heart issues to this day that are living through this day in and day out.
Yeah, we cannot forget. We're not going to, are we? We aren't going to forget. And I think more and more people are realizing, and the only people defending Tony Fauci last week are the media. Have you noticed not a lot of Democrats talking about him? Have you noticed that? I'm not hearing Liz Warren talking about it. You know? People know. You be real careful because you did a lot of damage to us, and we are still pissed about it. Really, really mad about it. Here is this weekend. RFK Jr. was on CNN with Dana Bash, and Dana Bash just got keelhauled by him.
You are the HHS secretary, and you are talking.
All she did was spew talking points of the left and the Democrat Party.
About things that lead to vaccine hesitancy in this country, and it is something that.
No, you know what led to vaccine hesitancy? Lying about the vaccine.
Causes problems for people when there is not anything.
Let me ask you something. Do you see your job as ending vaccine hesitancy, or do you see your job as telling the truth to the American people?
I see my job as telling the truth, and the truth is that there is study after study after study. It's one of the most studied things out there in science.
Not at all. You're absolutely wrong.
You're repeating it like a parrot.
Yes.
So are you. Like a parrot. I've actually read the science. You don't come back here and debate the science.
I'm not debating this with you.
Of course you won't.
No, because I'm not debating.
All you know how to do is repeat things that people told you and say, trust the experts.
That's exactly spot on.
That's what you did during COVID. Now we know that Anthony Fauci, who was the expert, was lying about everything, about masks, about social distancing, about natural immunity, about the transmission from the vaccine, about the source of COVID. He was lying, and you were punishing people for not trusting the experts. And now you're rolling out the experts again to talk about something that you have no personal knowledge of.
Okay, well, guess what?
There you go. This is fantastic. Here he is going after her for censorship. And I'm going to tell you, this censorship thing was something else. I experienced it. I've told you that the day after the election of 2020, my Facebook page and my 1 million followers went away. Forever. Gone forever. No explanation, no recourse, nothing. Just gone. Just gone the day after the election. Just gone. Gone. And then for years, all of my posts I was shadow banned. Anytime I tried to talk about Fauci, the 2020 election, January the 6th, whatever, my post would get one view. I was intentionally cut down. They did this across multiple agencies. They did it to shut down conservative thought on all of the social media platforms, and the only thing that saved us was Elon Musk buying Twitter.
Well, during COVID, we completely dismantled our constitutional rights. We began censoring people in violation of the First Amendment.
But you're saying what not to do. I'm asking what to do. But I want to talk about.
That's something to do. That is the number one priority. We protect the Constitution. The Constitution was written.
Forgive me, but you're talking about rights, and I'm asking about a potential public health crisis that is coming. But I do want to
And one of the mistakes we made in the last time was suppressing those rights so people weren't being heard. The doctors who were saying you're doing it wrong were being marginalized and vilified.
Yeah,
and
because again, I really want to move on.
I want to move on because you're losing the argument.
Yes, I do.
She wants to move on because she's losing the argument. I've talked to Dr. Robert Malone. I talked to him at the Newsmax Christmas party a couple of years ago about this. Some of the great Marty McCary, they were absolutely shunned. They were ruined. They were deplatformed. They were silenced because they said, hey, we know hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin really, really work. They're miracle drugs, but they stopped. Never before have we seen this, guys. You know this as well as I do. Never before has your doctor been told he or she cannot prescribe what they think will heal you by the government. And they did. And they did. And they did. Here is Diana Bash being shredded by RFK Jr. on children getting vaccines that weren't necessary.
It is also factually true that the COVID vaccine worked.
No,
the COVID vaccine prevented deaths. There is data upon data upon data. Let's talk about the measles, please, because this is something that is happening as we speak. The cases in the U.S.
vaccine protected children.
I think that what I have talked to scientists and doctors about.
Scientists, can you show me one study?
Yes, I can.
That shows that
I can.
Children were protected by the COVID vaccine.
I can tell you that
there vaccine did more good than harm to children. Can you show me one study that shows that?
I can tell you that when it comes to the vaccine, there have been studies that show that.
She is just really outclassed by this guy. This guy's a very intelligent man. He may not be a doctor or a scientist as you say it, but he is well versed in all of this. And she got her rear end absolutely kicked. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
The Rob Carson Show is presented by Paramount Plus.
This isn't the end of a fight. It's the start of one. Lioness, the critically acclaimed original series from Taylor Sheridan, returns August 2nd only on Paramount Plus. It's the new season. Hidden networks, foreign operatives, and personal betrayals collide while Joe walks the line between duty and family. Don't miss Lioness, starring Zoe Saldana, Michael Kelly, with Morgan Freeman and Nicole Kidman. Now streaming on Paramount Plus. Doug took Relief Factor for nearly a year before convincing his wife, a special needs teacher, to try it. She had been using assistance just to move through the long hallway at school. Now she's back on her feet every day. Never had to leave the job she loves. I can attest to this. I ride my mountain bike every weekend from 30 to 50 miles. I lift weights, and I'm lifting heavier than I did when I was 30 without pain. People like Doug make it easy to find out if you'll be the next person telling us Relief Factor gave you what you love. 3 weeks for just $17.76. Simply go to relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. We hope you'll be sharing your story with us, too. relieffactor.com or 1-800-4RELIEF. Here we go. It is the Rob Carson Show on a Monday, already the 3rd of August. Can you believe this summer is flying by? We have a special guest on the radio program today. We have some glorious affiliates across the country, and whenever we add a new broadcast affiliate, we like to welcome them in a very big way. And I'll tell you, it's important because local radio is the best way to reach people and connect with people on the local level. There is nothing that it comes even close to it. The TV news does the weather forecast, covers the local sports teams, and murders. That's about it. The radio personalities in cities around the country become the mayors of those cities, essentially. And one of those great stations we've just added, our new radio affiliate. We have the owner and general manager of News Talk 1100 WCGA joining us, Wesley Cox. Welcome to the show. How are you, my friend?
Better than I deserve. Thank you, Rob.
Hey, it is a real pleasure to have you on the show today. Thank you for adding my show to your lineup. It is a real honor to be on your station. Tell us a little bit about your station and the communities that it serves.
Okay, we're in coastal Georgia. WCGA stands for Wonderful Coastal Georgia, and we invite folks to come down and visit with us.
Oh.
We've got Sea Island and St. Simons and Jekyll Island, Cumberland Island. We've got a lot of nice places and a lot of nice people, beautiful spaces, as I say. And we serve the community. We're literally between Sea Island and a place called Frederica. We're on St. Simons, and it's a wonderful place, very historic. The original Great Awakening with John and Charles Wesley and George Whitefield started here. And if you think about coastal Georgia, a lot of people don't realize that Georgia has a coast.
Yeah.
We're about an hour north of Jacksonville and about an hour and a half, 2 hours south of Charleston.
Wow, I have got to come down, man. I need to get away, and I know of coastal Georgia, and I need to get the heck out of here, to be quite honest, and come down. Tell me about your listeners, man. What do they? What do your listeners enjoy about your radio station, and what's important to them?
What is important to our listeners is the straight skinny, the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. And we told them the truth about COVID. We told them the truth about election integrity and election fraud in Georgia. And looking back on it, Tony Fauci in the news recently kind of made us have a little flashback, and we thought about the work that we did. People here depend on us for local news, for local weather. My wife does the weather. She does a great job.
Yeah.
And we're just very excited about serving our community. It's a wonderful community. St. Simons Island welcomes visitors. If you've ever been on I-95, the main arterial north-south East Coast highway about Brunswick, Georgia, we're right off the coast there.
I'm going to Google it right now, St. Simons Island. Oh, my God, I can't wait to get down there. Here it is.
It's beautiful.
Oh, my God, it looks fantastic. It's Georgia's only 5-star resort down there. Oh, my gosh. I certainly won't be staying there. But St. Simons, oh, my gosh.
You can, Rob. Listen, we'll make it happen. You come down, we'll make it happen.
Brother, I don't need...
SI is our airport. Just fly into the airport on a private at KSSI, and we'll get you into Sea Island. You'll love it,
dude. I would be happy in an Airstream trailer. I don't even care where I stay, but I definitely I would. I'm not kidding, brother. I don't need. I'm low maintenance, man. I'm serious low maintenance. I'm not a 5-star private jet guy. I'm a Walmart shopper, and I think St. Simon Island just sounds absolutely amazing. What's that? Let me ask you this, because I'm a big foodie. I like to cook, and I lived in Kansas City. I'm a big barbecue aficionado, and I live here in Washington D.C. area, known for the best crab cakes. So I mean, my God in heaven, they're glorious. But what is your area, the WCGA area? What's the food that you're most commonly known for?
Wild caught Georgia shrimp, white or brown. Anchored shrimp is a good place to get it. We have flounder. We have all kinds of wonderful seafood here. But the shrimp is the big deal.
Oh,
big
my
deal
goodness.
in coastal Georgia.
Well,
yeah.
Now, as far as being a local owner and general manager of a radio station, not exactly the easiest job, profession you can be in. Trust me, I know a lot of people who own radio stations. I got a good friend, Mark Giuliani, who does WGMD in Delmarva in Delaware. How did you get into this?
I got into this because I got fired over a headline in newspapers.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
And you decided to move into radio. How long ago was that?
That was December 1, 1977. My wife's uncle had a radio station, and I started back then, and really enjoy radio. It's an amazing business. You either love it or you don't love it, and it's given to us to run this station, and we want to continue mission.
And I know sometimes business can be tough to rustle up. A lot of times, advertising, can be a little bit scarce. How's advertising going for you?
Advertising is fine. I'm a student glider pilot, and I tell people all the time, look, we're not hitting the pine trees, but we're not at 30,000 feet either.
Yeah, I understand that completely. Why is, let me ask you this, because why is, and listen, we are on the national stream, we are on stations around the country, we are, we've got a podcast and all of this, but I'm telling you, local radio is so important. Tell people why local radio. It may change how we deliver it. It may change from AM, FM to the stream, the whole deal. But why is it so important to a community?
Because you got people who care, who are members of the community, that will tell you the straight skinny, give you the truth. They'll tell you the local news. They'll tell you the weather. They'll give you an opportunity to learn how to use radio to build your business. My business card says, we build our business by building your business.
Absolutely.
And, having your program on the air makes it easy for us because you are like with a bullet, you're going to number one, like with a bullet from my old rock and roll days. So I think it's just a good time for people at WCGA to strap in and enjoy the ride.
So you added the show a few weeks ago. And we are eternally grateful. I mean, really, it means a lot to me and to all of us here because we got a new manager here. His name is Ralph Renzi. He's just blowing this thing up. Our revenues, we've already beaten last year. Revenues, we're up 300%. Why is this show a good fit? And what do you suppose your listeners like about this program?
It's a good fit because we know you're going to tell us the truth. We know you're going to entertain us. We know you're not going to take us for granted. We know that at the end of the day, you have a responsibility to, the Lord to
yes, sir.
Be straight with us. And we know that you've been through some hard knocks. And we know, just like Rush did with Snapple, that anybody that gets online with you now is going to have a wonderful ride.
Well, you know that the most powerful advertising method in the world, but beyond TV ads, beyond billboards, beyond anything you could imagine, is endorsement radio. It just is. It is the most powerful. When you connect with people, Wesley Cox, when you connect with people, then they will listen to you because they trust you. And I like to believe that I am trustworthy because I don't lie. I don't make up anything. I'm very honest about who I am. But endorsement radio, particularly on great stations like News Talks 1100 WCGA, is an incredible way for you to grow your business. And there's no better way, is there?
Well, there's not. And if a person's got a reach that's national, I think they ought to be on your show because just like I said about Snapple and all the other national brands, if they hop on early enough and write a long enough contract, they're going to have a wonderful, wonderful ride. And I really salute you, Rob. I love the fact that you entertain us while you're giving us the truth. And it's a lot of fun to listen to.
Brother, I want to thank you, and I want to make sure that I can get down there. I've been wanting to go to some of my affiliate stations. We've been through a lot of things. I moved to Washington, D.C. Now I'm in the Newsmax building, and I want your listeners to know that I brought them here with me, too. When I
They know
here.
that, Rob, and they appreciate you.
You are here with me. I am here with you, and every single day that I'm on the radio, even when I was doing the show in a dark room by myself for the last 6 years, I knew you were here with me, and I am here with you, and we're in this together. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for adding us. We are proud. We are a proud affiliate of News Talk 1100 WCGA. My brother, we'll talk again soon, and hopefully I'll be able to get down there soon.
Thank you, Rob. All the best. Looking forward to meeting you.
All right, God bless you. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. I got to get down there. I want to go to St. Simon's Island, Georgia. Oh, my goodness. See, I just love coastal communities, you know. I've been to a number of them. Even Delaware, Florida. I haven't spent a lot of time in Florida. But the coastal communities are just something. There's something about the ocean. There's something about the sea air. There's something about the food. And I'll tell you what, St. Simon's Island looks friggin' phenomenal. I mean, my goodness. And I'm saying this because we have a new affiliate that serves that area, News Talk 1100 WCGA. And, every affiliate we get, I appreciate you so much. No matter how big, no matter how small, it is an enormous honor for me. An honor that I can't express. I waited a very long time to get here. Rush Limbaugh was discovered at 37 years old. 1987, I believe, when he signed on in New York City. He was 37 years old. Glenn Beck was 37 years old on September the 12th, 2001, the day that they launched his syndicated radio program. I was selling cars and drinking myself to death at age 54 when Chris Ruddy called me at the car dealership and changed my life. And I could have easily given up. I've been through a lot. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying there are a lot of people who've had it a lot easier getting where they are. And there have been times that it has been a son of a gun. You have no idea. You have no idea how hard it was to pick up everything I wanted to take with me and leave my kids back in Kansas City. They were adults, but to leave my kids, a marriage that I had hoped to keep intact, and put it in the back of a U-Haul and haul it across the country and build a studio on my own. I did it on my own. I said, I'm just going to do it. I didn't expect Newsmax to help me out because it was my decision. You can't just tell your boss, I'm moving to Washington, D.C., I need your help. No. This is the decision I made. And I took every extra dime that I had, and I invested in a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful studio. The studio, of course, I had to move from, unfortunately. I knew it was going to happen at some time. It happened sooner than I thought. But I built it. I built it myself. I built it myself! And when I was asked to come into the Newsmax building, I came in, and there was a desk. And I said, I'm going to make this into an extraordinary space. And we're almost there in 3 weeks. People walk by and they see a big neon sign behind frosted glass, the Rob Carson Show, Newsmax. I'm in the heart of Washington, D.C. I was drinking myself to death. I was praying for God to let me die in my sleep 6.5 years ago. I was on food stamps 7 years ago. We lost our house in Washington, D.C., moved to Kansas City, got fired 2 years into a 3-year deal. No severance, really, to say, and no one would hire me. Nobody would give a music jock a chance. They gave Rush Limbaugh a chance in 1987. He was a music jock. I worked in Washington, D.C. at Mix 107.3. I was supposed to be the morning show host there, but the morning show host there decided he didn't want to leave, and they stuck me in afternoon drive playing 12 songs an hour for 9 years. And I started going down the hall to WMAL and doing talk radio. And then I got let go, and I built a studio in my home in 2014 and began doing talk radio on the biggest stations in America. In Denver, in Dallas, in Des Moines, in wherever. In L.A., in San Francisco, the whole deal. Then I moved to Kansas City, got let go, built the studio again, and then started streaming. And I've just started. Just a couple months ago, I found out this show, number 10 political commentary podcast in America. What? Number 41 for news. What? Out of the 3.8 million podcasts out there, mine is number 250 overall. And we're just getting started. And so every affiliate that adds this show, I want to treat you guys in the best possible fashion, and I want you to know that all of you, I'm here for you. You're here with me. And every day, despite the things that have happened, I just thank God that he gave me the wherewithal and the strength and the resilience to never stop fighting. And we're winning now. So I'll just end this segment and go to the break and thank our new affiliate, 1100 WCGA, and all of our affiliates, and all of you who take time every day to listen to this show and watch this stream. I can't thank you enough. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Veterans and active duty service members.
Sorry, guys.
When you're called to service,
It is it's been really hard. I think, the reason why I'm here and the things I've seen is to witness. We're talking about the footprints in the sand. Yeah, that's a brilliant poem, isn't it? Talking about God carrying you in the times that you were suffering. Why did you leave me? I didn't leave you. I was carrying you. Thanks for reminding me of that. Guys. I appreciate you. Love St. Simon's. I can't wait to get down there. Flying to Jacksonville. Yeah, I'm going to have to get down there. Get down there. Preach, brother Lawrence. I hope that maybe I can inspire you to, if you're struggling. I know many of you may be. Hopefully being able to witness not only that, but also just entertain you every day. Just entertain and connect with you every day. It means a lot to me. It means a hell of a lot to me. I haven't played any comedy today. I'm going to have to play some comedy here. I think I'm going to have to do that. I'm going to do this one. Ooh, all right. All right, I got to talk here. Yeah. Hello, Lawrence. Hello, William Ratcliffe. Thanks for watching. Come on.
start moving. Got to get me there.
So, Marjorie Taylor Greene is teaming up with Tucker Carlson and Thomas Massie to plot a new political party. The movement has begun. It's not even a bowel movement. I mean, what a joke. They posted a picture on Saturday of her and her new husband, Brian Glenn, sitting at a table headed by Carlson with Thomas Massie and Joe Kent. Losers all, by the way. Here's one of the reasons why their movement will end in absolute failure. Republicans love Trump.
Trump is still very popular with Republicans. Just take a look here. Okay, 21st century own party approval rating, about at this point in the second term. We got Trump, we got Obama, we got Bush. Look, they're all fairly popular, but the one who is the most popular, and we have seen this time in and time out, no matter when you look, is Donald John Trump. He's the only one who's over 80%. 83% of Republicans still approve of the job that Donald Trump is doing.
100%. And those who are betraying the MAGA movement, and it's not about Donald Trump, it's about the movement. It's about what he stands for, what he's here for. He is the guy who's saving the republic. We know it. We would fight and die for our republic, but we wouldn't do the dying. But people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker Carlson have weak constitution, I believe, and Tucker Carlson is a private school blue blazer elitist. That's what I say. He's an East Coast elite. He has no idea. He's never worked a hard day in his life. Thomas Massie is just insane. Joe Kent off the deep end, and it's not going to work. It's not going to work. I like to use the expression. Remember in Animal House when Bluto was trying to get everybody to go with him. This is what these guys are trying to do, and nobody's going with them.
Over? Did you say over? Nothing is over until we decide it is.
Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Hell no!
German? Forget it, he's rolling.
It ain't over now. Because when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Who's with me? Let's go! Come on!
Yeah, nobody's going to go with them because nobody respects them. Tucker Carlson has lost 53% of his following since becoming anti-Trump and being bat crap crazy. I used to really enjoy Tucker Carlson's show. I listened to his podcast for a number of years. I don't know what it is about him that would cause him to lose his mind like Candace Owens, but he has, and I think part of it has to do with his elite upbringing, and that constitutes I think a weak constitution as an individual. And I would love to debate him sometime. I'm sure he gets smarmy and snotty and elitist and all of that because he thinks he's very, very intelligent. He probably is. But this is going to fail. Thanks, guys, for listening today. God bless you. America's founded Donald Trump and the great job he's doing, our military, and, of course, until tomorrow, do not catch the stupid like Tucker Carlson and Marjorie Taylor Greene. See ya.
The Rob Carson Show is presented by Paramount Plus.
Information. Truth. Is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.